Hiya, Nos Hyena here, and today's video is my furry origin story. This video is going to explain how I became a furry. That's right, there was a moment in time where I was not donning animal costumes and spamming cringy content all over the internet. Now I wish I had a very simple explanation for how I became a furry. Like one day I was browsing YouTube and then I stumbled upon a video of Duke the dancing dog. Oh no. And while that anecdote was partially the truth, I actually feel like I've been a furry my entire life. I wasn't a member of the community until about 3 years ago, and for a very long time I didn't know the term furry, which was a really good way to explain how I felt about myself inside. So I guess my connection to furry comes at a very young age for myself. I was a very shy and sensitive and just eccentric kid who found it hard to fit in and socialize with everyone else. And there was part of me that always wanted to be something different and something unique and something that wasn't human. And I must have been about 4 or 5 and I saw instructions on how to make a tiger mask in this picture book. And I was like, yo, that's the coolest thing ever. You're saying I can be a human and put on this mask and be something different? Sign me up for that. So I would do things from time to time, like make myself a tiger tail and then run around the house. And it just made me really happy anytime I could do that. And I loved reading Calvin and Hobbes, and I'm pretty sure I had a crush on Hobbes, which manifests itself in interesting ways even today. But I knew from a very young age that I really wanted to play pretend as an animal, but I also felt like I had to keep that hidden and secret from people. I think because I genuinely thought I was the only human in the universe that felt that way, so in order to fit in, I shouldn't tell people that. And that was a choice I made from a very young age and kept for a very long time. So something very interesting happened after I found out that humans could dress up and play pretend as an animal. I never believed in the magic of mascots or theme park characters or anything like that, because I knew from that young age that it was a costume. But then anytime I would see a theme park character or a mascot, I'd be like staring at them, trying to find the person underneath, having this overwhelming sense of jealousy, being like, I want to wear that suit. Bear in mind, this would be me at like 8 or 9 years old, like my inner monologue. I didn't dare tell anyone because I thought that would make me the weirdest person on earth. In hindsight, I realized that a lot of people have the same thoughts. And I think from age 5 onwards, and every experience I had up until a teenager, the only thing I wanted to do was wear one of those suits. It was like one of my life goals. It was seriously one of the things that I wanted to do the most ever. Wear one of those things. I'm not even kidding. And then at about the age 11, I found out what mascots were. I actually found the terminology for the characters that walk around, because in Australia we never really use that term a lot. We don't have high school mascots, you would just see them at like sports games and theme parks and at fairs every once in a while. Side tangent, Australia doesn't have a big mascot culture like the US does. So at the age of 11, I stumbled upon the 2003-2004 version of Google Trends. What I noticed was that it was October and Halloween costumes were trending. So me being a boy that enjoyed Halloween and dressing up and making believe, went on this online website called buycostumes.com, and my brain lit up like a kid on Christmas. I was like, wow, there are so many cool costumes, you can be all these cool characters. So I browsed this website, buycostumes.com, and I saw all of these cool ass costumes that I wanted to wear and that I wanted to be, and it was like the most exciting thing I'd ever stumbled across, and it was amazing, and it was awesome. And I eventually stumbled upon the mascot costumes, and I was like, oh. Because these are costumes that you could buy that look like mascots because they are mascots, and you could be any type of animal you wanted. So you could be like a lion, or you could be a wolf, or you could be a dog, or you could be a shark, or you could be whatever you wanted to be. And this was like the most exciting discovery of my life. Like 11-year-old me is like, I'm gonna save up like $1,000 and then I'm gonna buy one of these things and then I'm gonna be the happiest person ever. Which is pretty accurate, to be honest. So like in the weeks following that discovery, I just keep Googling mascot costumes and mascotting. And then I eventually stumble across all of these mascot resources like how to try out for your high school mascot, how to take care of your costume. So there was all of this cool information. And from there I found out about professional sports mascots, like people like Rocky the Mountain Lion and Benny the Bull, who get paid squillions of dollars to dress up as an animal, and I'm like, this is my life purpose. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is my passion. This is the only thing I want to do. This is the greatest thing I have ever discovered. It's awesome. It's amazing. I want to do this so bad. And then pretty much from that moment onwards, it was my life goal to be a professional sports mascot. And from like the age of 11 to 19, it was just scheme after scheme of me basically coming up with situations where I could wear an animal costume. Like I was searching for mascot jobs in the UK online. I was 14. I'm like, I'm gonna move overseas and pursue my dreams of being a fuzzy animal. Now skip to my late teens and I've basically reverse engineered the process of myself wearing a fuzzy costume. So all I need to do is like learn how to dance, how to flip, how to be a great improviser in pantomime. And I would literally spend my spare time during the summers going on YouTube and watching videos of mascots and then mimicking what they're doing. Like, and dancing around in my room and doing all of these things that these mascots were doing, imagining that I was the mascot. Like, this was how badly I wanted this. It became one of my biggest goals, like, in life, period. And around this time, I start getting my first mascot gigs, and I tell my parents, like, yeah, I'm volunteering at the baseball game, not letting them know that I'm wearing, like, a ridiculously oversized animal costume. And I did some non-animal mascots as well, but it was all as a means to an end along the journey of becoming a professional animal, because this was my life goal. So each experience I had wearing one of these animal costumes just gave me more life and passion and motivation towards continuing my goals towards being a professional mascot. And basically by reverse engineering the process of becoming a sports mascot, I transformed myself from this very shy person to this more outgoing person, because that's what the job required. Now actually, as I'm excitedly telling you this mascot story, I forgot to include one very crucial and key detail. It was actually very shortly after I found out what a mascot was that I found out what furry was. And honestly, the definition of furry that I stumbled upon was the sensationalized media version of furry. So I was really drawn to the costuming and all of the things of the furry fandom. But once again, there was a part of myself that decided to suppress that part of myself, because I calculated that if I was a furry, I would kill my own chances of being a professional sports mascot, which was my biggest dream at the time. Because there was something that really appealed to me about getting to be an animal and getting to inspire and motivate other people, strangers who I never met before, who were cheering for me as an anthro form. And I think because I was so scared of losing that dream of being a mascot, I internalized all the furry things that I enjoyed and never let myself explore that interest within myself. Now I'll get into the messy details in another video, but basically we fast forward to my early 20s, and I essentially have to choose between furry and mascotting. And it's when I come over here and live in Pittsburgh of all places. Now, I actually got to do what a lot of aspiring mascots don't get to do, which is actually become a sports mascot. But I guess one thing I was missing, even in the highest of highs, by being a mascot, was the camaraderie and the friendship and the connections. One thing I really noticed in my time as a mascot was that I seemed to be the one who wanted to dress up the most, whereas it was just an activity to many. But to me, being an anthropomorphic animal was one of the most important experiences in my life. And I also always thought, what would happen once my mascotting career would be over? How would I be able to recapture that glory of being an anthro and getting to have these really cool interactions with people. And I guess the thing that I had been brushing aside for the last 9 years, the furry stuff that I would look at late at night and then pretend that I wasn't a furry afterwards, the fur affinity and live journal accounts of popufurs of 10 years ago that I would read through, I really realized that I wanted to make being an anthropomorphic animal, or getting to express that part of myself, a really big part of my everyday life. And no job with no boss, even the coolest mascotting job in the world, would let me express that. Because at the end of the day, if you're a mascot for a sports team, you're playing their character. But in furry, you can be your own character. You can create your own fursona and be whatever species and whatever gender and whatever height and age and weight you want to be. And that was something that I really, really wanted to do. I wanted to have my own character and be able to express myself in that character as much as possible. So when I basically had to choose, I really realized that I had a home in furry in a way that I didn't have anywhere else. And there's a lot of details I glossed over. I basically started being furry because I bought a fursuit on a whim off an auction site, but I realized by expressing this furry side of myself, that was going to be the thing that made me truly happy. And that, my friends, is just a little glimpse into my origin story of being a furry. It only really scratches some of the surface, but basically, I really, really wanted to wear one of these, and I went to ridiculous lengths to be a sports mascot. But eventually I gave in and realized that my years of being a lurker furry were really telling me that this was the community that I wanted to be a huge part of. And I'm really, really grateful that I've been able to dive into this community and make really amazing and fantastic friends, and have some of the most amazing experiences of my life. Not to mention meet the most amazing guy as well. Anyways, thank you so much everyone for watching. This was a very improvised vlog, but I wanted to put out my origins and why I am a furry today. I hope you enjoyed. Yay! Oh man, just spilled water on my crotch as I'm telling a damn story time. Fail whale.